Right. And you'll get that prompt to everyone from Zoom, which you probably already heard. Okay, let's try my screen share again. Okay, so here we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here. And again, we're going to be here for 3 days. So, and each day will be recorded. What the process is going to be is I'll send out a reminder email in the morning. And then once we go live, I will also send out an email too with the link, and you can be watching it from Zoom, or you can be participating in the Facebook group. And then at the end of the day, before 5 o'clock, I will also send out the replay so you can listen to it, because we will have some people that may not be able to make a live session. So we'll be doing that as well. All right. And then just a little bit about me. Oh, and I have someone else who's coming into from the waiting room. All right. So just a little bit about me. Some of you, we've got a wide variety of people in the audience for this masterclass this week, which is great. Some of you I've had the pleasure of having a one-on-one conversation with, at least a couple. Some of you we haven't talked before. So let me just quickly introduce myself. I'm Christine Kidder Graves. I got married actually in the pandemic. So yes, so that was a good thing to come out of the pandemic. But I've lived in the Chicagoland area all my life. And I've made career pivots myself. So I started off, I have my accounting degree from DePaul University, and I did work in accounting and finance for 7 to 8 years. But then I made a career pivot, and then I found my way into an awesome career in human resources. And I became an HR leader, and I was able to work in a variety of companies. And now I've done another pivot again, having my own business, being a career coach, and also to working with small employers to help them really have a good workplace for their team. So that's a little bit about me, but my big thing is I'm focused on you really getting clear on what's most important to you. And I firmly believe everyone was given a unique skills and talents. And we need you to use them. We need you to, and we spend so much time at work. I want to make sure that, you're getting the most out of your skills and talents, that you're really aligned with your work. So, and just to address this question, I think you might ask, why a career plan? Why do I need a career plan? Well, when we think about it, when we go on vacation, or if we go on a trip, I'll be going out of town briefly this coming weekend. But in the old days, before we had GPS, we always had a map. But now, even for much shorter journeys, I still use GPS. So you need to have some type of plan, anything, because if you've ever not had a plan, it can be very confusing, overwhelming. You really don't feel you're moving in a clear-cut direction. And we don't want to do that in our lives, especially in our work, because our work is, we spend so much of our time at work. And then also too, it's our livelihood. So I'm here to help you have a career plan and have something more specific. So that is important as well. And then, also too, a few housekeeping things. I started off with the housekeeping things, but again, make sure that you print off your workbook. And then also too, if everyone can make sure that they are on mute, that would be great. Feel free to put questions in the chat. And then, I'll pop in, I may be popping in some links for you as we are going through the chat. And I wanted to just look and see what you guys have put for titles too. So, all right, great. Dream role, CEO, COO, wonderful. And next role would be a director, leader position. Okay. Onboarding and training manager. Fiction writer, tell the stories I love so much. That's great. Oh, veterinarian. Awesome. I had to take one of our dogs to the vet today. So vets are so important. And they work extremely hard. All right. Great. Wonderful. Well, thank you everyone for answering my question. I appreciate it. Let's keep on moving forward. And then, the other housekeeping thing I wanted to mention too, definitely I'm going to keep these will not go over an hour. And if anything, I'm going to try my best to let you out a little early so you can have some time to yourself to really reflect on the content. I think that's important. I found in my learning, like after I've participated in a learning session, to take even like 5 or 10 minutes afterwards to review my notes and reflect on it. I think that's an important thing to do as well. So I encourage you to do that once we end our sessions. Did I hear a question maybe?
Yes, I have a quick question. Could we
Yes.
request everyone to be on camera? It'd be nice to know who we're interacting with.
Yeah, I think that would be great. That's a great suggestion. If everyone does feel comfortable being on camera, that would be great. So yeah, I would appreciate it if you can be. Sometimes you're not. And if you can't do it today, maybe let's shoot for tomorrow as well. So that would be awesome. All right. This quote means so much to me. It's from Oscar Wilde, the fabulous Oscar Wilde. Be yourself, everyone else is taken. And this just goes back to what I was saying a minute or two. There's no one else like you. And from a marketing perspective, think about it. You have your secret sauce, you have your superpower. So it's really important to, and the other thing too, is we're always evolving. We're always changing as we're learning. So maybe you're developing that strength even more as you go in your career. But whatever the case may be, the focus is you need to really make sure that you are using your skills and your talents and that you're pursuing work that is aligned with your skills and talents and that you're excited about. So I just love this quote so much because we don't ever want to try to be someone else. We just need to be ourselves. That's what's most important. Okay, I want to touch upon in the workbook, there was some pre-work for you to do, and you might not have been able to get to it, but I would still like you to try to do this. I'd like to start with, when I start working with my clients, is talking about their strengths, their top strengths. And there's a lot of tools that are out there if you need more clarity on what your strengths are. The tool that I recommend the most, because as a human resources leader, there were so many different assessments, and maybe all of you in the audience, maybe you've had experience with those assessments. Maybe as you were developing as a leader, the company that you worked at had you do the MBTI, that's the Myers-Briggs assessment. That's a very popular one. The one that I recommend is the Strengths Finder assessment. I like it because it's simple and it's easy to use, it's easy to grasp, and I think people can relate to it a lot. Some of the assessments can be very complicated and they don't need to be. The great thing too about the Strengths Finder assessment is it's great for team building in the corporate environment as well. So if you haven't done the Strengths Finder, I encourage you to check it out. And you can actually, for about $50, you can get the assessment, and then you'll get the whole range of strengths. I think it's about 34, but they'll tell you what your top 5 are and what your bottom 5 are. Again, that's if you need clarity on it. You may have some decent clarity already on your strengths too. Often, like with some of you, I've done this already because we have had the chance to have an introductory phone call. But the 2 main questions I want you to ask yourself today are, how do I rate my clarity on that next ideal role for me, that next step that I want to make? And rate it on a scale from 1 to 10. Okay, just to see where you're at. All right. The higher it is, the better, because again, you want to be able to see it as clearly as you possibly can. And the second question is, it's more related to what we're talking about today, is How do you rate your clarity on your personal brand, your personal and professional brand? Because it's all mixed in together in one thing. It's you, it's your brand. But you need to have clarity on it too. If your clarity is only like a 5, then how are you going to be when you go to interview for a position? Even when you go to apply for a position, when you apply for a position or go after a promotion, they're going to want to know, why are you interested in this position? What can you do for us in this position? What makes you a great fit? Why should we hire you versus the other candidates? And that's where the more clarity you have on your brand, the better. And it all starts with these 5 strengths. Let's make it simple. Let's not overly complicate it. So, and that's why I like the Strengths Finder assessment, because it really helps to make it simpler. All right. And then part of it too is you doing a past and a present assessment. I like to think of this as like an audit of your career journey, of how you got here, where you are right now, and what's happened in the past. We're not going to spend a lot of time in the past because the past is done. We can't change it. But maybe there's some reflection time that you need to take. What are the lessons learned? Maybe there were some mistakes or things that you weren't happy about in your career journey. What are the lessons learned from that? We've got to take those lessons learned to be able to move forward. So I want you to acknowledge what you've been through to get to this point, the good and the bad. All right. Definitely, we've all had challenges. Nobody has a perfect career, perfect work. Acknowledge those past challenges and give yourself credit too for getting through those past challenges. Be kind to yourself always. Please do that, especially with your career, because you're the one doing it. You're the one showing up every day, doing the work. That is crucial. So I need you to get that and to understand that. And so when you're going through that past and present assessment, it is in the workbook. There's that worksheet for you to take the time. You don't have to take a lot of time, just take even 5 minutes. Or maybe you could do a little bit every day this week to reflect on it. But I want you to think about your strengths and your career journey and reflect on that. All right, now a big part. So we start with our strengths. Let's just say we did the Strengths Finder assessment. We'll just use that as an example. We do the Strengths Finder assessment, and then you get your 5 strengths. Then from there, I want you to think about what are your star stories that are tied to each one of those strengths. Okay. So for example, and this is an example that I share with my clients to walk them through how this works. And again, this is part of your brand. And remember too, story is very powerful. Story is how you convey specifics in your experience and what you've accomplished. And it's also how you're memorable. So for me, one of my strengths is empathy. And so that's the strength. The task that I used my empathy when was one example in my career. The executive director and one of her direct reports had a major falling out. The direct report did something. This is someone on her executive leadership team. They did something that was just a violation of policy, and something was going to happen. Someone might get fired. I mean, it was just a mess. And so my task was to resolve this major conflict, to find out what happened and to come up with a resolution. So my action that I took was I talked extensively with the executive director one-on-one. I talked extensively with their direct report one-on-one. And it was very time intensive, and I listened to them a lot, and I really got to the root issues here. And then I was able to bring them together and really hash it out and come to a resolution. And the great thing is that no one got fired. But also, I mean, what's even better is that the working relationship was strengthened. And they were also both able to be better in their roles because of this thing that had happened. So by me relaying that story to you, you're going to be thinking about that, and that may be more sticky in your brain the next time, you encounter me. So again, story is we're relaying our strengths. And again, this will help you if you're doing a job search. It'll help you in your career, but you need to have the clarity on this. So I want you, and that's what the STAR Story worksheet is about. So I want you to go through that exercise with at least one of your strengths. If you could do all 5 of your strengths, that would be even better. But let's start with baby steps. That's totally fine. So a third of our lives, I mentioned this already, a third of our lives are spent at work. So really, doesn't it make sense that we do a career plan? Yes, we have to do a career plan. I mean, if you're working out on a regular basis, you probably have a workout plan. I mean, I've been training for the marathon. Anyone who trains for a marathon, who trains for some other event, you have a training plan. So, and then hopefully you have a financial plan. Why wouldn't we have the same for our work? That's important. All right. So I asked you this question earlier. What is your ideal role? And you might be like, well, Christine, what do you mean? What's an ideal role? Does an ideal role really exist? I don't know. What are you talking about here? This is how I define it. It's where you feel that you're invaluable. And when I say invaluable, and I'll give you an example of this from my HR career. Being an HR leader, I've been fortunate enough to hire a lot of people, and I love hiring. It's very rewarding. It's wonderful. But I've also had to fire a lot of people, which isn't so great. But at the same time, being Zen, we need to do it to go forward. When you are invaluable, you're evolving and you're growing with an organization, and you're helping them. You're an essential part of their business. And but we as human beings are always evolving and changing, and businesses are too. So that's why you constantly have to be looking for, okay, how can I be invaluable? How can I really contribute? How can I make an impact here? So if you are invaluable, that to me, that is the ultimate job security. So, and I'm not saying that people who have been affected by reductions in force, layoffs, whatever we're calling them nowadays, if you've ever been impacted by that, it doesn't mean that you're not invaluable. It just means that, you have to, it's like that win-win situation, that magic fit where things are firing on all cylinders. You are in a role for the company that they really need, that it's needed on their end as well. So yeah, so it has to be on both sides. If you were impacted by a layoff in the past, or even right now, we need to find you a role that really fits you well, where you can be well paid and valuable, and really make a good impact. Where you're shining brightly. I like to think of that as well. Okay, so I kind of jumped right in, but I want to make sure I give you an overview of what we are covering. So these are the 3 steps in my program, in my one-on-one coaching program that I do. And I'm sharing it with you in my masterclass this week, which is, I'm very excited to be able to do that, to be able to share that. So again, today we're really talking about the first step, which is to reflect, to get clarity on your purpose. And I think that there's that one saying, I can't remember the exact saying how it goes, but it's like, you need to find your purpose. You need to go out, but maybe it's to your purpose finding you as well. So, but regardless, it's all a mix of your strengths, using those, applying those, and doing something that you really enjoy doing. That's important. And then day 2, which is tomorrow, I'm going to give you the ingredients for putting together a plan, because we need a plan that's going to identify how we're going to be taking action. And then on day 3, it's going to be connect, what that action will be. The bulk of the action that we take really is in our careers is connecting with others. So we often say networking. You have to network in your job search. It's truly connecting. It's connecting with others and having one conversation at a time. Again, I think we overcomplicate the job search, but having those one conversations at a time, that's important. So that's the overview of what we'll be covering this week. And all right, so the meat and potatoes for today, I have to take a sip of water. I haven't had enough water yet. Okay, so we all have tons of thoughts on a daily basis. I think the tally is around like 65,000 thoughts a day, if not more. And the majority of those thoughts are negative. They can be really negative. And we have those thoughts on a loop too. So you are hearing them throughout the day, nonstop. And if you're doing a job search, that's probably the last thing you need to hear that negativity over and over again. Or if you're working so hard in your current job and you're just like stressed out, and then you're hearing that on top of it. Sometimes we can be our own worst enemies. So I call that, and I'm sure you've heard of it too, that negative voice inside our head is the inner critic. Now, let's not make the inner critic the total bad guy, okay? Because that inner critic inside of you keeps you safe, right? Back in caveman days, when we had dinosaurs roaming the earth, the inner critic prevented you from getting eaten by a dinosaur, okay? So that's a good thing. Thank you, inner critic, for doing that. We appreciate you. So, but at the same time, we need a balance. We definitely need a balance, okay? So this is where the inner mentor comes in, okay? The inner mentor is the voice of your intuition. That's that person that you aspire to be. So that's who we really need to listen to, okay? Think of it as, and I have said this before in the past, you should be the CEO of your career, and you should also have your own board of directors, which would include the people in your life that support you, that are behind you. Could be your spouse, your best friend, your mom, your dad, whoever, people that you've worked with, people that are like mentors to you, okay? But then also too, at the seat at the table is your inner mentor. And then another person on your board is going to be your inner critic, okay? So we have that. It's like, those are the different people that you're factoring in, with your career that you need to listen to, okay? The inner mentor, that whole concept comes from Tara Moore's book, Playing Big. So, and she wrote that specifically for women. However, I think men can also get a lot out of that as well. It's like, think of it this way, almost like working backwards. Like we're only here for a certain amount of time. Like think how many years you have left. I'm not trying to be morbid, but tomorrow is never guaranteed. It's not. So at the end of your life, whenever that happens, where do you want to be? And work your way backwards. This is not a dress rehearsal. The time is now. So think about where you want to be, and that could be your inner mentor. That person, someone had put in the chat, they'd like to be a CEO. All right. So you are that CEO. What would that CEO advise you? So again, that inner mentor is on your personal board of directors. When you are trying to answer questions that you're considering right now, what would the inner mentor say? What would they do? So that's something for you to reflect on and for you to think about. Oops, here we go. Going to move for me. Okay, so I wanted to show you this diagram because this is important to consider. I need to move this because this is distracting me, my little bar here. All right. And this comes from this little diagram. I'll explain this to you. So this is the biggest, to me, that this is what we're challenged with. We all have this. And it's the shoulds, it's all the noise. So this is you. This is, the stick figure. I'm just such an artistic person, I know. But this is you. We're all these stick figures. And this is our mind. So really our mind is controlling the show. All right. This is our mind. And then here, this is actually the subconscious mind. So and then we have all the things externally that are constantly coming at us. We've got the news and the media and social media, and we have the pandemic and what other people want us to do in our relationships and responsibilities and commitments. So yeah, all that is impacting the inner critic as well, I think. So, but that's why reflection is so important, because even though we have this noise constantly coming at us all the time, we have to take time for reflection. So now I have a question for you. I would like you to answer this in the chat. I'd like to find out right now, out of the people that we have in our audience, how many of you on a daily basis take time out for some type of either meditation, it could be journaling, it could be just some kind of quiet time, but we're putting it in the category of reflection. So it could be journaling, meditation, it could be breath work, it could be visualization. But how many of you do that on a daily basis right now? And again, it can be as little as 5 minutes, but if you feel comfortable putting that in the chat, you could just say yes or no. That's all you have to say. You don't have to say anymore, but I'd kind of like to get a read on how many people are doing that right now, if you could do that. Okay. All right. So, and I know it can be, we can get so caught up in the busyness of life, but what I'm telling you here, the reason why this is part of my program is I want you to make sure that you try to start. If there's one thing that you could get out of this masterclass, is to start giving yourself at least 5 minutes a day. 5 minutes a day for reflection. Okay. And I'm going to have some tools for you. So, but I want you to do that. Okay, so getting back to the inner mentor, more on the inner mentor. So another simple way of defining, the way I define my inner mentor is she's me 20 years from now. And this is a lot of fun. Think about it. I mean, really use your creativity and your imagination and really stretch yourself. We impose these limits on ourselves that we're the only ones imposing them, really. We might think that other people are imposing them on us. They're not. This is why I'm encouraging you to think big, to play big, like Tara Moore says in her book, but also to think big. So your inner mentor, you should ask yourself, who is she or who is he? Where does he live? What does he eat? What does he look like? What clothes does he wear? Where does he live? What kind of house does he live in? Does she have pets? So really try to flesh that out, have a clear picture on who your mentor is, who your inner mentor is. And you can also ask your inner mentor these questions, like what's mattered to her the most over the past 20 years? And also, what do you need to know now to take action on to get there? Okay. And what will help you to be true to yourself, to be your best self, to be her or to be him? Okay. So, and I guess if I had to simplify this for you, pull out one question. You could even just try it in the coming week. So maybe try it for the next, for this week, is to ask yourself the question. Well, once you have like an inner mentor, an idea of an inner mentor in your head, think about like as you're going through your day and thinking about your work and what your big goals are for yourself in your work and in your career. What would my inner mentor do? If my inner mentor was in this situation, what would my inner mentor do? It could really help a lot to give you some clarity when you're trying to make a tough decision. All right. So really, I would say that the number one goal setting mistake, and just in our lives in general, is listening to the noise, the outside noise, listening to those negative voices from the inner critic, because that all prevents us from following our inner compass. What is most important to us? Why are we here? What's our assignment? What are we supposed to do? So this is the thing that we always have to be vigilant about. And that's why it's so important to take at least 5 minutes a day to tune in to your inner mentor, to your inner voice, your compass, whatever you want to call it, but to tune into you, because there is so much noise. There's so much distraction. All right. Your inner mentor is the answer to your big, scary goal. I like to encourage my clients to have a big, scary goal eventually. Like we may be focused on them landing a new role, but once we, do land that role, it's like, okay, where are you at with your big, scary goal? What is your big, scary goal? That's really to always be stretching yourself, because a lot of times that big, scary goal is landing that role, landing that CEO position that I want, or that VP of marketing role that I want. That is my big, scary goal. And you get it. You haven't had it before. This is a key thing with a big, scary goal. It's something that you haven't achieved before. So you are definitely reaching outside of your comfort zone. It is uncomfortable pursuing it. So the doing your job search right now for that position can be very, very uncomfortable. But then once you achieve it, then you have to set a new big scary goal, something else to, again, to stretch and expand your comfort zone. So the key questions to ask are, what does your inner mentor say? And then what work can you do now that would move you toward that ideal role and that big scary goal? More questions for you to think about. So for your reflection for today, and actually I want you to continue this. I really want you, and if you are currently, if you have a daily practice for reflection, I'd also like you to consider possibly expanding it. Maybe if you're taking 5 minutes a day right now, can you expand it to 10 minutes? Or maybe if you're taking just 5 minutes in the morning, maybe you can take 5 minutes for yourself in the evening too. So I'd like you to consider that, because I really feel that's going to help you to reach your goal, to get clarity, number one, on what your goal is and to flesh it out. So maybe your clarity is at a 5. Again, the more we can, whatever we can do to increase your clarity on it, the better. And then also too, what's part of it is why. Why is this your main goal? Why do you want this? And then the third part of it is how. How can it be obtained? Now, I don't want you to be stuck in the how, because often we may not know, we may not have all the details. And I don't expect you to have all the details. Like, we'll use the example again of working toward that CEO role. I don't expect you to know all of the steps on how to get there. And if you did, that would be kind of strange anyway. I mean, things just don't unfold like that. But all you need to do is understand the how of the next step. That's all you really need to do. If you understand the how, and if you don't, that's fine, but just try to spend some time on reflection on that, on how you're going to obtain that next step. That would be good. All right. And then,
Christina,
and
I have
I
a
have,
question on that.
yes, go ahead. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. I often find that I get stuck in how, and I wonder if you have ways to get out of just thinking about the sort of action to take and get back into the vision.
Yeah. I think you have to go back to the vision and think about, okay, what's an action step that I can take, one small step to make the vision more of a reality, and then take action. So as soon as you get clarity on one small step to take the step, I've done this so many times myself. We procrastinate. We don't take action because we may not know every single thing, and you're not going to know every single thing. So I would say be okay with taking a small action, because some small action is better than no action. And then also too, be okay with making a mistake. Be okay with it. Don't be attached to the outcome per se. Maybe approach it more as a scientist, a compassionate scientist, as my coach likes to say, and really going after it for the learning. Okay. Yeah, you're working toward that result that you want. So good. I'm glad that helped. Good question.
And Christine, another way to look at that is, it's like accepting the notion that no is not a final answer. There's always multiple ways to get to that goal, and it may not be the next step that you thought it was. To me, it's about creating an environment around you. And what are those areas of your life that you need to be involved in and be present in that will improve the likelihood of opportunities for that next step or next steps to occur. And keeping an
Yeah.
open mind. There's
Mhm.
not one road to success or that dream job.
Yeah, having an open mind, being open, and again, letting your intuition speak to you too, because if you're open, then you're ready to be open to new ideas, new ways of looking at things. You may see something that you didn't see before. So yeah, that's right on the money, Charles. So yeah, it's being open to that, and yeah, getting out there, like being in action is a good thing. So I like this. I have a career goal card myself. I have my index card, although it's in my purse because I carry it around with me. It's right here. But I encourage you to write down your goal, your next goal on a card, on an index card. And you could use the career goal card that we have in the workbook, but use that because you want to make sure that you're looking at that every day. And it is powerful. You would think, oh, this piece of paper, looking at that, but it really does make a difference. It keeps you tethered to your goal. It's not just floating around in your mind with all the other 65,000 thoughts that you have. So write it down on an index card and really treasure it because it's your goal. I mean, I treasure my goal card. I put it on my dresser at night when I go to sleep and I carry it around with me. I laminate it. I'll look at it and be excited about it and know that you're going to hit that. You are going to hit that. But it really helps you. It's helped me so much to be focused and to stay the course. So and it also helps to deal with all the noise too. Okay, so I do have these resources for you, and I have even more resources because there's always new things that I'm discovering. So these are just some, and I'm going to be sharing more with you too, but this is a simple meditation video. Also, I love my favorite. If I had to pick my favorite out of all three of these, I would say this 5-minute journal, because this is something you can have on your iPhone, or if you have Samsung, whatever. It's just a simple thing for you to stay on course. And so check it out and let me know what you think. But these are just really simple resources to help you. Okay, so for tomorrow, again, we're going to be talking about our plan. But I want you to, I'm going to let you on the next couple minutes. So we'll end our session for today. Really take some time out for yourself for reflection. A book too that I wanted to give you, a book title, and I'll put it in the Facebook group too, but I'm going to put it here in the recording. It's the top 5 regrets of the dying. So again, the top 5 regrets of the dying. The author's name is Bronnie Ware. I do have, it might be easier. I don't want to just like constantly inundate you with stuff, but this is a resource that I have on my resource list, but I'll be sure that you get this. But the bottom line is, I don't think any of us wants to have regrets at the end of our life. And that's why having a plan is so important. But you need to reflect first on what's most important for you too. We don't want to get caught up in life's busyness. We need to make sure that we're tuning into ourselves, our inner compass, and that we're pursuing the direction that we want to pursue. So again, the title of the book is The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying by Bronnie Ware. There is an audiobook too. I love audiobooks because they help me in my reading. But yeah, so before I close out though, I want to give you an opportunity. Were there any other questions that anyone had that I can answer for you? All right, I don't see any questions again. All right. No questions. Okay, I'm gonna stop my share. And then, yeah, so thank you so much. It was great to see all of you. I think it's gonna be a great week. And feel free to email me with any questions. Oh, Mick, did you have a question? I thought I might have seen you. No, you're okay. All right, great. All right, wonderful. All right, well, enjoy your extra 10 minutes here. And then I'll see you back here tomorrow. Okay, take care. Bye.